Hi friends, welcome back to your grammar sessions and we are here at your own learning platform, Learn Forward with your grammar book, the Grammar Hub for Grade 7 by Feathercap. Today we are learning about primary auxiliaries in chapter 7 of your book. So what are primary auxiliaries? They are just the helping verbs. We have already learnt about verbs. Let's know about primary auxiliaries here. Underline the verbs in the following sentences. So let's quickly underline the verbs. Yes, enjoy, very good. The horse ate, very good. The birds chirped in the nest, yes, perfect. Next, the students wrote an essay, good, and they are playing chess, so are playing, very nice. Both these words are verbs. So let's start our journey with auxiliary verbs. What are auxiliary verbs? We say the auxiliary verbs are also helping verbs. Now, where does the help come from? If somebody is doing a project and the other person comes and supports, that is a help, isn't it? But if the main person goes away, then the other person takes the role of main action, right? That means now he is no more supporting, he is getting involved in doing the project himself or herself. Same happens in verbs. If there is a verb that is doing the main role, that is doing the main action, that is called the main verb. And then the verb that helps in making its form complete or telling its tense, that is called the auxiliary verb or the helping verb. Okay. Now the helping verbs or the auxiliary verbs are of two types. They may be primary auxiliaries or modal auxiliaries. Primary auxiliaries are do, have and be form of verbs. These are the three primary auxiliaries. So the words be, have and do, these are called primary auxiliaries and they have a grammatical function in a sentence. But in case of modal auxiliaries, first thing to know is modal auxiliaries are always followed by the root form of main verb. And secondly, they are there to tell the mood of the speaker. Mood means in what context the speaker is saying something, right? So about modal auxiliaries are be form, do form and have form. We already know these forms. Be in present is, are, am, past in past tense it is, was, were. Similarly, do is do, does, or it can be did in past tense. Have form has, have in present tense and had in past tense. So these are the primary auxiliaries and we'll be learning about their uses one by one. What is the use of be form? That is, are, am, was, were. First use is it is used in formation of continuous tenses, like we say be form and then the ing form of verb. Mother is knitting a sweater. I am swimming. So in these sentences, knitting, swimming, these are the main actions, main verbs, and is, am, they are helping in completing the structure of verb in continuous form. So these are primary auxiliaries. And then it is also used to show that the action is more important than the doer. Like the cupboard was opened. So the cupboard being opened, this action is more important. The missing files were found. So the finding of files was more important than who did them. Okay. So that means in another way we can say when we are talking in passive voice, then also your be form helps in verb formation. Now, when followed by an infinitive, that is to form, it is used to indicate a plan or an arrangement. Like we are to finish the work in a month. That means it's your plan to finish it in 1 month. They are to leave next week. So they have already planned to leave next week. So here we see that after the be form, we are using the two infinitives. It is also used to denote a command, like you are to resign right now. So it's a command. You are to see the principal at once. That means you have to immediately go. This is the order. Now the uses of do, the forms are do, does in present and did in past. So these are used for making the sentences, for completing the negative and interrogative structure of sentences. Like, do you come here often? So do is the verb which is used here. He doesn't agree with me. Again, here we are using does for the negative structure. Did you manage? So we are saying this in past tense did you manage to finish the assignment? Now, in imperative sentences, it is used when we want to say the sentences is negative, sentence in negative, and their only do is used. No point of saying in imperative in past tense, and no point of using es, because imperative sentences, the subject is always you. Good students. So when we say do be quiet, we say do shut the door after you, right? So in imperative sentences, we are using do to emphasize. Yes. Coming to next is use of have, has, have, had. These are the forms, has, have in present and had in past. So what are these used for? These are, first thing is we use them in perfect verb structure, perfect tenses. In present we use has, have, like the artist have painted, the baby has slept. And in past we use had, he had taken his breakfast. So they are used in perfect tenses. It is also used with the infinitive. And why do we use it for infinitive? To indicate some kind of obligation, like they have to return immediately. So before the infinitive to return, we are using have. Why? This is showing an obligation. That means it is to be done. It's required. So we have an exercise for you. Choose the correct auxiliary verb from the given brackets. You have these forms and we know which form should be used. Like with Harry, gone to the party, has will come or have? Harry has, because it's a singular. We dash going to a party tonight. Yes, perfect. So it's very easy, you can do. Okay, let's move ahead then, and we'll be learning about modal auxiliaries. As I told you, they express the feelings, the mood of the speaker, in what context he is saying. So they are called modals or modal auxiliaries, and the important modal auxiliaries used are will, shall, may, might, can, could, must, or to, should, would, used to, need, dare, like that. And why do we use them? We have different categories. We'll be learning about them. But first, let's see how the modals in the same sentence structure, the change in modal changes the mood of the speaker or what is signified in the sentence. Like if I say, I can go to school, it shows that I am talking about my ability. Then I may go to school, that means I am talking about the possibility. I might go to school. May shows you a strong possibility, might shows you a lower possibility. Now if you say I will go to school, that means simply in future tense you are saying that I'll go to school. I should go to school, that is telling you the obligation. That means it's the right thing to do. I could go to school, that means in past tense you are showing your ability, and then it shows possibility also. I would go to school, it shows that you are expressing some reservation. Then I must go to school, that shows it is your strong duty. It's needed, it's a need of time. So how we have changed just the modal auxiliary in the verb, it has changed what is the inference of the sentence, right? So this is how the modal auxiliaries show the mood of the speaker. Now what you have to remember is modals are dependent verbs, and whenever you use the main verb after this, you use only the root form of verb, and they can only be used with the main verbs, except in short answers to some yes no questions or as part of question tags. Like if you say can you sing, so you'll just say yes I can. You stop at can, because this is what we do with the short answers, yes no type. Or when you go about the question tags, they will not perform the play this time, will they? So here you are just using them without any verb here, main verb here, because this is a question tag. Except for these, modal auxiliaries are always followed by a verb. Modals are always used in their base form, so we don't change them in tense. Like I can dance, he can dance. It will be like that only. When used with a modal verb, the main verb is always in its root form, the base form, the first form of verb. Like he will speak to me tomorrow. So speak is in its root form. And then modals do not have infinitive. They do not have the to form. We cannot say to may, to might. Though these are verbs, but we cannot say to may, to might. So they do not have the infinitive forms. Now, what are the uses of different modals? Will, shall, should, would. So, what are the uses? Will is used to show simple future actions for the first person. And when you use will with the first person singular or plural form, it means you are emphasizing. Okay. Now, like we will finish our work by tonight. So you are emphasizing when you are speaking about will with the first person pronoun. To denote definiteness about a future action, that something will happen in future, simple future actions for the second and third person without emphasis, right? Decisions made or intentions expressed at the time of speaking. So when you are speaking, you immediately take some decision. For that also we use will. Desire or willingness for something or someone, like I'll be glad to teach you English grammar. So this is my willingness. Facts about the future, when you simply refer to future facts. Prediction regarding a future action, when you are predicting. Formal announcements regarding some future actions, some events. Then a request, a suggestion, an order, or seeking an opinion, like will you solve these maths problems for me? So you are requesting. We can also say that could, if you are showing a polite request. It will be better if you do yourself. So you are just giving a suggestion to do yourself. They seem to be so difficult. Will I be able to do them myself? So you are just seeking the opinion from somebody. What do you think? Will I be able to do myself? So these are the different ways in which you can use will. And for habits and characteristic behavior also, like he will always be ready to help you. So that is his behavior. It is his quality. Coming to shall. Shall in simple future actions for the first person without emphasis. For first person we use will to show emphasis, and shall is used not to show emphasis. The reverse happens with second and third person. When with second and third person you want to show emphasis, then you use shall there. For a polite question you use, for an offer, for a suggestion. When you are asking somebody for advice, you use shall. Simple future actions with second and third person without with emphasis, sorry, we use shall. Like you shall come with me at once. So that means you are emphasizing this action. Higher degree of formality, like when it is we are talking about legal documents or the minutes of the meeting and so on, there we use shall. And then for obligations also, like the student shall abide by the rules. So this is an obligation on the students. Coming to would. Would is the past tense of will. Then for past habits or characteristics we use would. For past refusal, for polite request also we use would. And then for conditionals, for other verbs we use would. Like she would get good marks if she studied hard. So here we are using a conditional. That is why we are using would here. Should is used for obligation or duty. This is for logical deduction also, like the chief minister's convoy is just 2 blocks away and they should be here any moment. So you are just deducing, this is your logical deduction that they'll be here reaching soon. Suggestion or advice, when you are making, you use should. For probability also, and then for conditional, for the first person you use should. This was for other persons here for conditionals, and here this is for first person. I should be glad if I could help you. So this was the use of modal should. Now coming to next category is can and could, may and might. So can and could denote ability to do something. Can in present, could in past. This is general we are talking. Then seek and grant admission, permission also. So could is more polite. To make a request you can use them, and to make an offer, suggestion, to help somebody. So can I help you? Can I lend you my helping hand? Can I pick it for you? So there also you use this can could. Now may and might, they show chances. May is used for more chances, might is used for less. Then for giving permission, for refusal to permission sought also, may I take a day's leave tomorrow? I am afraid you may not. So you are refusing the permission here. Wishes, hopes and prayers, you say may you live long, may you be blessed with all good things. So requests के लिए, then suggestions, then weak possibility. So these are the different uses of may and might. So what you have to remember is can is used to make request in a direct and informal way, but may is used for a formal way, like with your when you are taking permission from your teachers, there you have a formal role. Could and would are used for making less direct and more polite requests. Might does not usually have a past meaning. And then the context of possibility, may and might are used. May is used for a strong possibility, might for a weaker possibility. The only difference is may and might, the latter denotes something less probable or less certain. That means may is a strong possibility, might is a weak possibility. So the next category is must, ought to, need, dare. Let's understand what's the difference here. Must is used for a strong obligation, like you say he must speak the truth. So you are just putting an emphasis on this. Compulsion, when there is something compulsory, some external forces there that is making it the action compulsory. You must report to the inquiry counter before the interview begins. So the rules say there, the policy says there that it is compulsory for you to report there. And then when there is a necessity, India must make education available to all in order to become a developed economy. So this is the need of time. It is necessarily to be done. Next is ought to. Ought to comes when there is a moral duty, like you ought to obey your parents. Then obligation, moral recommendation is there. When there is some moral obligation to do something, or you are recommended to do something, like Ria ought to speak more carefully to her teacher. So this is your moral duty, right? When there is a logical deduction also, like your teacher left home half an hour ago, she ought to be here any moment. That means it's expected. Logically, you are just deducing that she should be here in half an hour. Now, next is need. Need is used to show an obligation in a question, like, need I be bothered about this problem? So, do you think there is any need of thinking about it, bothering about it? And then comes dare, which is used to show that somebody is not afraid of doing anything, not afraid of doing something. And it is used mostly in questions and negative sentences, like, dare you argue with me about the issue? So how could you be so courageous? Then dare can be used both as a normal verb and as a modal also. You can use dare as both. As a normal verb, it is used with do, does, did. So it is used with do, does, did when we are talking about dare as a normal verb, not as a modal. And when we are talking about modals, then it is followed by a to infinitive. Here's an exercise for you. Fill in the blanks with shall, should, will, or would. We dash be delighted to meet your son. So what will come here? We shall be delighted. Next, I'm sorry, I dash behave better next time. You are promising, you are saying it with a strong feeling. That means with first person in future tense, you will be using will. Next, you dash be ashamed of yourself. So this shows an obligation. You should be ashamed of yourself. You dash not lie. This is wrong thing to do. You should not. That is should as an obligation, as a moral duty again. Next, I dash call your parents today. So here you are emphasizing, and it will be with first person. When you are putting emphasis, we use will. Right? Clear? So every time you use a word here, you have to reason out why you are using, and then you will be just recalling all the rules that way. Next exercise is complete the sentences using the appropriate modals. Dash you please close the door while you leave. So you are being polite. That means could you please, or even would can be correct. Could you please close the door while you leave? The noise of the traffic outside dash disturb the examinees. That means the chances are more, so may disturb the examinees. Next, I dash speak Hindi fluently as a child. That means you are talking about your past ability when you were a child. Yes, could. But why could you speak that fluently? When we lived in New Delhi. But I forgot most of it as I had very little scope to use the language after we moved out of Delhi. So where they are living now, the people around do not speak Hindi. He has forgotten most of it. Presently, I dash use just a few expressions. So again, showing a general ability. So in present, it will be can. Right? So children, reason out please, and you will go perfect in your answers. You dash forget to take your umbrella today. And let us read ahead because the next sentence will show you what should be the correct modal here. The weather forecast is that it dash rain heavily this evening. So weather forecast says heavy rains today. That means, but still, you know, raining is a probability only. So more chances, that means may will come here. Now because chances are more, so you are recommending, you are suggesting somebody. So you will say you should not. It's your suggestion, right? Coming to next. Dash you please drop me near a taxi stand. Now again it's a polite one. It should be could. And if you are talking to somebody in an informal way, then you can say can also. So both are correct. Suppose you are talking to some colleague, some friend, then you can say can. So please is just you are showing your politeness, you are requesting. Dash I reach home by 6 p.m. I would. Could you please drop me near a taxi stand? Okay. So here it will be I dash reach home by 6 p.m. That means you want to reach there. Okay. So it will be I have to. Or it can even be I must. Because there is some necessity. I must reach home by 6 p.m. Why you should reach there? A couple of my friends dash come home in the evening. So here they will come in future action it is. So it will be they will come home in the evening. That's why you want to reach back home early. So here's a recollection of what we have learnt about auxiliaries in this session. What is auxiliary? An auxiliary is a helping verb. And helping verb can be a primary auxiliary or a modal. That means a modal auxiliary. So primary auxiliaries we have learned there are three only. They are do, have and be form. These are the three primary auxiliaries, and modal auxiliaries, they just express the mood of the speaker. They give the attitude of the speaker, and they are can, could, may, might, shall, should, must, will, would, need, dare, ought to. They are the general ones that we have learnt here in different categories to express the different attitudes or moods of the speaker. Right? And modal auxiliaries, they are also called modals, and they do not change their forms. They are like that only. So it's your practice time, practice to perfect. Auxiliary verbs, what are they also called? Helping verbs. Yes. He may reach here by the morning train. In this sentence, may is used to express what? So it may reach here, it is showing probability, possibility. So is it telling wish or taking permission? Yeah, it's showing possibility. Must is used in present tense, future tense, past tense, or none of these. Where is it not used? Must is not used in past tense, right? Coming to next is rewrite these sentences using can, can't, could, couldn't, may, might, may not, and might not. Follow the instructions given in the brackets. So the first one says you are allowed to leave early today. That means you can leave. You are giving permission. So you have an informal permission. That means you can leave. You are not allowed to leave early today. Formal refusal to permission sought. You are not allowed. So what will you say? Because it is a formal permission, you will say you may not leave. So in place of all this, you will say you may not leave early today because it is a formal permission. Next, will it be possible for you to lend me some money? And what mood you have to tell? What's the attitude? It has to be a polite request. So for polite request, what do you say? Could. Yes. So you will say, could you lend me some money? Right? Next, it looks like it is going to rain this evening. So you are talking about possibility, and what are the chances? It's weak possibility. So we learned that may and might are used to show possibility. May for strong and weak, weak for weak, we use might. So what will you do? It might rain this evening. So this is how we are transforming sentences using the modal and taking care of what the mood is being expressed here. What's the attitude being expressed? Next, Rani is able to dance very well. Here we are talking about the ability, and because it is in present tense, so what will you use? Perfect. You will be using can, and could is used in past tense. So Rani can dance very well. See how easy it turns into if you know the rules where and how you have to use the modals. So this was all about auxiliaries in this session. We'll be coming up with more interesting sessions in Grammar with Mini. Till then, happy learning, children.